Classification of microorganisms. They can be classified in three main categories: prokaryotes, eukaryotes, and non-living. Non-living basic example is viruses. Viruses they cannot produce without a host, so they need either a living being like humans or animals that they can reproduce. Prokaryotes and eukaryotes, the difference between these two is that prokaryotes, they do not have a nucleus, and eukaryotes, they have a nucleus. So in eukaryotes, you have DNA or genetic material inside of the nucleus. Example of prokaryotes microorganisms is bacteria. Bacteria can be helpful for humans, and some of the types of bacteria species can actually cause different kind of diseases. Eukaryotes, they are fungi, algae, protozoa, rotifers, and worms. Fungi and algae, they can both be unicellular or multicellular. So unicellular fungi is basically yeast, and unicellular algae is basically phytoplankton. Regarding protozoa, they are important in both water and wastewater treatments. Regarding rotifers, they are part of freshwater zooplankton. They are basically multicellular organisms or basically multicellular animals, but they are still too small that they can be visible with your eye, naked eye, without a microscope. And the last one, worms. So worms is basically a term which we use to refer to several unrelated organisms with a long, skinny body shape. They are part of kingdom Animalia or animal kingdom. Bacteria are tiny but numerous, which is meaning bacteria are incredibly small, and it will take hundreds of thousands of them line up to cover just 1 inch. Because they're so small, you need a device, which we call a microscope, that you can actually see them. Bacteria have been around for a very long time, with some fossil suggestions that have existed for over 3.5 billion years. Cyanobacteria are thought to be the first organisms to evolve and develop photosynthesis. Cyanobacteria are found all over the world, even in extreme environments like desert and hot springs. Some bacteria are essential for our health and help us digest food. They also play an important role in the fermentation process, which is basically how we get tasty products like yogurt and cheese. For example, in Emmentaler cheese, bacteria will release carbon dioxide. This gas cannot escape, so it will form holes inside of the cheese. Certain bacteria can take nitrogen from the air and turn it into a form that plants can actually use it. In this way, they are helping plants to grow. This is especially important for agriculture. Bacteria also help break down dead plants and animals. In this way, they are recycling nutrients back into the ecosystem. But also, we have harmful bacteria which can cause different diseases to humans, plants, and animals. So it is really important to practice good hygiene to avoid getting sick from harmful bacteria. Bacteria can reproduce really quickly. Some species can double their population in just 20 minutes. Most bacteria are traditionally grown on agar media plates that contain sheep's blood. Historically, this has been the way to obtain bacterial growth in order to determine which organisms are normal flora or healthy and which bacteria are bad, which is meaning causing disease or infection. Bioluminescence bacteria are basically bacteria that can produce light. This is like some kind of fireflies or certain deep sea creatures. Bioluminescence occurs through a chemical reaction that produces light energy inside of organism's body. So that this reaction actually can happen, a species must contain a molecule which is called luciferin. This luciferin will then react with the oxygen and light will be produced. Bacteria are classified into 5 groups according to their basic shapes: spherical, rod, spiral, coma, or corkscrew. They can exist as single cells, in pairs, chains, or clusters. Bacteria are everywhere. They can be found in soil, water, on your skin, in your mouth, and even in extreme environments like deep sea, hydrothermal vents, and Antarctica. Bacteria have been sent into the space to study how they behave in microgravity, helping us learn more about their resilience. Fungi are everywhere, from the food we eat to the air we breathe. They play important roles in our daily lives and in the natural world. Fungi might look like plants, but they're actually their own kingdom of organisms. They're more closely related to animals than plants. Unlike plants, fungi don't need sunlight to grow. Mushrooms are type of fungi. Some are edible, while others are toxic. So you should never eat wild mushrooms without expert knowledge. Fungi are essential decomposers in ecosystems. They break down dead plants and animals, returning nutrients to the soil. Yeast is unicellular fungi used in baking. The famous antibiotic penicillin was discovered from a type of mold called penicillium. It was used to treat bacterial infections. Algae are not plants. While they may look like plants, algae are actually not classified as plants. They belong to their own group of organisms and can be found in various environments like oceans, ponds, and even on damp rocks. They produce oxygen. Just like trees and other plants, algae play a crucial role in producing oxygen. They release oxygen as a byproduct of photosynthesis, which is essential for all living creatures on Earth. They can be green, red, brown, or even gold. The color of algae is determined by the pigments they contain, which help them capture sunlight for photosynthesis. Maybe more children will be familiar with the seaweed, which is often used in sushi or found washed up on beach. Seaweed is a type of marine algae and can be very large. Some types of algae are edible and are used in various dishes. For instance, nori is used to make sushi rolls, and spirulina is used in smoothies and health foods. Algae can come in a wide range of sizes. Some are so small that they can only be seen under a microscope, while others can come on massive floating mats or kelp forests that are home to many marine creatures. Certain types of algae, like blue-green algae, can produce harmful toxins in water. These toxins can be dangerous to aquatic life and even to humans if ingested or exposed to them. Scientists are researching ways to use algae to create biofuels. Algae can be a sustainable source of energy and help reduce our dependence on fossil fuels. Also, algae are used in some cosmetics and skincare products because they contain nutrients that are good for the skin. Protozoa are single-celled microorganisms that belong to the kingdom Protista. They come in various shapes and sizes. They are incredibly small, with some being even smaller than a grain of sand. Protozoa come in many different shapes. Some can even change their shape as they move. Many protozoa live in water, from oceans and lakes to the puddles and even inside your body. Some protozoa are found in the intestines of animals, including humans. Also, some of them, like Euglena, have a whip-like tail called flagellum that helps them swim through water. They can move around by waving their flagella. Some of these protozoa are predators and hunt other tiny organisms like bacteria. They use special structures to capture their prey. Protozoa can also have structures like cilia, which are like tiny hair-like projections. They use these cilia to move and catch food, and some even have cilia for steering like oars on a boat. Some marine protozoa can produce their own light, creating beautiful underwater displays. This is called bioluminescence. Protozoa play an essential role in the ecosystem by helping to break down dead plants and animals. They are like nature's recyclers. Some protozoa can also cause in humans and animals different kinds of diseases. For example, the organisms that cause malaria is type of protozoa. Rotifers are incredibly small animals, typically measuring between 0.1 and 0.5 millimeters in length. They are so small that you would need a microscope to see them. They can be found in a wide range of aquatic habitats, including freshwater, lakes, rivers, and even in tiny water droplets on mosses. There are thousands of species of rotifers, each with unique features and adaptation to their specific environments. The word rotifer comes from the Latin words. One of them is rota, which is meaning wheel, and second one fero, which is meaning to bear. In the end, this is the meaning this name refers to the crown of cilia that surround their mouth and appear to rotate like a wheel. Rotifers are known for their amazing ability to survive extreme conditions. Some species can endure desiccation, which means that they can dry up and stay in dormant state until water is available again. They use their cilia to create water currents and capture tiny food particles. Many of them reproduce asexually, which means that they can make exact copies of themselves without needing a mate. This helps them to reproduce really quickly. Some rotifers have fascinating reproductive structures, like their retractable egg cases. When conditions are unfavorable, they can retract their eggs into their bodies to protect them. They also play a crucial role in aquatic ecosystems, as they are a food source for many other animals, including tiny fish and aquatic insects. Scientists use the presence and diversity of rotifers in water bodies as indicators of water quality. Healthy water usually has a good variety of rotifer species. They also have transparent bodies, which means you can see their internal organs and beating hearts under a microscope. Because of this, they're often used in biology classes and labs as model organisms to study different kinds of biological processes. Although they are tiny and often go unnoticed, rotifers are essential for maintaining the health of many ecosystems by helping with nutrient cycling and being an important part of the food web. There are over 25,000 known species of worms, and scientists believe there are many more waiting to be discovered. Most worms are incredibly small, measuring only about 1 millimeter in length. Some, however, can be even smaller. Worms can be found almost everywhere, from the deepest part of the ocean to the highest mountain peak. They live in soil, water, and even in the bodies of animals and plants. Worms can have different lifestyles. Some are free-living, meaning they move about and feed on organic material, while others are parasites or predators. Some worms are parasitic, meaning they live inside other organisms and can cause disease in plants, animals, and even humans. Many worms are beneficial in agriculture. They help to decompose dead plant material and recycle nutrients in soil. Some are even used as natural pest controllers. Worms have evolved various ways to survive harsh conditions. Some can go into a dormant state until conditions improve, while others are resistant to extreme temperatures. They can reproduce rapidly. Some species are capable of laying thousands of eggs in a short period of time. Viruses are incredibly small. In fact, they are so small that you cannot see them with your naked eye. They are even smaller than bacteria. Viruses are not considered living organisms because they cannot grow or reproduce on their own. They need to infect a host cell to replicate. Viruses are actually like tiny pirates. They enter our cells and take over, using the cell's machinery to make copies of themselves. Viruses can come in many shapes and sizes. Some can look like little soccer balls, while others resemble like spaceships or spaghetti. Their shapes are determined by their genetic material and proteins. There are many different types of viruses, and they are grouped into families based on their characteristics. Some common viral families include flu and the common cold. While many viruses can make us sick, some are essential for life. Bacteriophages, for example, infect bacteria and help control their populations, which can be beneficial in ecosystems. Viruses can evolve over time, just like animals and plants. This is why the flu vaccine needs to be updated each year. Good hygiene, like washing your hands, can help prevent the spread of viruses. It's essential to wash your hands to keep these tiny invaders at bay.